I become a successful artist, or how do I improve my art? The answer to these questions is building a really good foundation and building some good habits. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 habits that I've incorporated in my life that have helped me succeed. What's going on, guys? I am Nick Hajialis, professional artist in the entertainment industry, and this channel is dedicated to helping artists succeed in their industry and also pursue their passions. So all of these habits have taken me quite a while to sort of build myself up to and figure out what works best for me. These are also habits that I know a lot of my other professional friends do that help them improve their art and help them succeed in their careers. In terms of building a habit, researchers have shown that there's like this really wide range of time in which it takes to build a habit. I think the average is about 66 days or so, but don't let that scare you. In this video, I'm going to show you some tips that I use to kind of just like jump into something and to make the habit making process as easy as possible, because that's what we want at the end of the day, right? We want to just dive right into something and continuously do it so that we can expect results and expect continued growth. My hope is that if you just take one of these habits away with you from this video, it will set you up on a better path on your artistic journey. So let's get into it. All right, the first step may sound the easiest, but I think it's honestly the hardest, and that is just showing up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get out of our beds, get off the couch, get off our butts, and do something simple like just opening our sketchbook. The simplest way to do something is the easiest way to form a habit. Starting is the hardest part, but once you just do that, it makes such a difference in your life and in your workflow. You kind of have to just like change your mindset to just be like, I'm just gonna start something. I was actually thinking back to yesterday where it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I had some more work that I wanted to get done, but I was kind of like, maybe I'll just do something else. I don't know, like not do art. And what I was thinking was, okay, let me break this down. What is the simplest thing I can do for the task that I want to do? I was working on some frames of animation for my game. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do 3 frames of animation. So I sat down, I did those 3, and you know what? It turned into 5 or 6 or 7, however many I ended up doing. And I ended up doing some other like little tasks as well. So it kind of just goes to show that like just doing something and having the mindset of starting somewhere, even if it's like a very menial sort of task, can lead into something greater. All right, the next point is keeping a schedule. Part of showing up is knowing when you're going to work on your art and where you're going to work on your art. So have a space that's dedicated to your work. You know, if you're a student, maybe that's your bedroom or something like that. For me at this point, it's my office. I know where I'm going to work. And I do this professionally, so I kind of treat it like a 9 to 5, even though I kind of end up working more than 40 hours a week. If you're somebody that's in a position that has some sort of other job and you're trying to pursue art as your career and you're already working that 9 to 5, you're working those 40 hours a week, I encourage you to keep a schedule for yourself, but make it accessible. Make it something that's like very, very easy for you to jump into, something that you can start with. And again, you might have that feeling where you're like, okay, I'm going to commit to 30 minutes, but it could turn into 2 hours. You don't really know until you just sit down and do it. So I would literally block out a calendar. And let's just use the 9 to 5 person as an example. Maybe at 7 p.m., maybe you eat dinner at 6 o'clock, right? And at 7 p.m., you're gonna do some artwork for 30 minutes a day. I'd say 30 minutes is probably the smallest amount of time in which you can definitely get something done and feel accomplished. But it doesn't feel like it's obviously taking up your whole day. It feels like it's manageable, right? And if you're sitting there feeling like you don't even have 30 minutes a day, I promise you there's something else in your life that you can sacrifice that can open up that 30-minute slot for you. 30 minutes is definitely that amount of time that you kind of just need to make time for it as opposed to trying to find time for it. All right, so let's say you're showing up to work, you're keeping your schedule, but you still feel like you're not getting a lot done. This is probably what's going on. All right, the next habit number 3 is reducing distractions. This is crucial because it makes the difference between getting stuff done and feeling like you're not getting anything done, right? In my opinion, it's better to work a very thorough, very focused 4-hour chunk than to work an 8-hour day where you're barely getting anything done because you're all over the place. If your neighbor Frank is mowing his lawn at, 10 a.m. on, Monday mornings, then you know that that's maybe not a good idea to sit down and do some work when your entire house is like vibrating, right? I might be speaking from experience with this one. So just schedule out your time knowing that it's a time period in which you know you can be focused, you know you can be aware, and you know you can, feel like you're going to truck through some stuff. Another big thing that I've had to learn over time is just getting rid of my phone during the day. So I will either put it in, silent mode or just flip it over. I think you'd really be surprised at how much time you're spending actually just like, drifting from your tablet onto your phone, scrolling through Facebook or something like that. So just know that the phone is probably going to be your biggest distraction right now. I'd say watching videos or listening to podcasts is really great for staying focused, but that can also be distracting. Just kind of watch out for when, again, you feel like you're kind of drifting away. Like if I'm watching a YouTube video on my other monitor and I start to feel myself like looking from one screen to the other too much, I'll turn off that video and I will put on something that's a little bit more chill, something that I don't need to put like 100% focus into. Most of us are digital artists. We're all working on the computer, and you'll thank me later once you do this. If you feel like you need to have your internet browser open for, like I was saying, like YouTube or something like that, if you want to watch a video, that's totally fine. But it helps to close like your Gmail or your Discord or whatever might be like popping up notifications that might be distracting you. So just look out for that and close that stuff out. And in this next point, I'm actually going to elaborate on how you can mitigate this stuff, but still, check your emails. Okay, so this fourth habit is batching your time. And again, this is something that I had to kind of like learn over the years, and once I started doing it, I found myself being way more productive and feeling like I'm really getting stuff done throughout the day. So you ever find yourself just infinite scrolling on your phone, mindlessly scrolling, mindlessly clicking on emails? Well, this is probably the issue. You have this stuff open during your work time. It helps to, just like with a schedule, allocate time for administrative work or allocate time for social media time, if you want to do that, or for chores. So for me, what I try to do is I try to check my emails right in the morning, and then it's done. I've checked my emails for the day. I respond to whatever I need to respond to, and then I close those. Maybe I'll check them again after work, whatever, but I'm not opening up Gmail throughout the day, because I find myself, if I do that, I will just like keep checking it and refreshing it. So a good way to just mitigate that is to just like forget about it until you absolutely need to. So having that time is a really great way of just, freeing yourself up to do your work and not to be spending, checking all of this stuff. And if after all of these things you're still feeling like, but I'm not inspired, I'm not feeling it today, well, this is what you can do. All right, so habit number 5 is don't wait to be inspired. Inspiration doesn't find you, you find inspiration. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. If you're just sitting on your butt waiting for this flash of light of inspiration to come to you, then you're doing it wrong. Inspiration comes from actively working, diversifying your day, diversifying your experiences, and going a little bit outside of your comfort zone and thinking outside of the box. You kind of have to actively be doing stuff in order to actively be inspired. So for me recently, I've been finding my personal work to to feel a little bit bland and a little bit dry. So what I've tried to do is started working in my sketchbook as opposed to just doing digital art all the time or just doing studies all the time. So for me, that active mindset of being like, all right, I'm still going to work on my art, but I'm going to try something different is what gave me that inspiration boost, right? Every morning now I wake up and I look forward to drawing, and I have all of these cool ideas, and that was a choice I made. It wasn't something that necessarily came to me. Some other things you can try as well to get in the habit of not waiting for inspiration is reading some books, watching a documentary, playing a game you like, painting something that you really, really want to paint or have been wanting to paint for a while. Making time to do stuff that you know is fun and you know has inspired you in the past can definitely help push that inspiration without you feeling like you're needing to wait for it. All right, guys, I've got one last bonus point for you. But before I get into that, if you guys have liked this video so far, please consider subscribing to my channel, throwing me a like. It really, really helps me out. So let's dive into the next point. All right, habit number 6 is learn how to listen to yourself and learn how to listen to your own intuition. You know yourself better than anyone else. Don't let anybody tell you differently. No matter what you took away from my strategies for building habits, everybody kind of has a different way of doing things. So just try to analyze and examine what works best for you. You know yourself better than anyone. But I will say, don't use that as an excuse to just be like, oh, well, I only need 3 hours of sleep, and it's really because you've just been like up playing games all night. So try to learn the difference from when you feel yourself procrastinating or when you're like running away from an issue, or when you actually need a break from something. There's a big distinction between those things, and working on analyzing that for yourself is going to help you have a better schedule for yourself, have a better mindset for yourself as well. Doing regular check-ins with yourself and your work will really help with all of these things as well. Will help you build up that intuition for yourself. So sitting there and taking a realistic look at your work, for example, and you're like, man, I really suck at drawing hands. Well, that might mean that you need to build a habit out of looking for a reference for hands or doing some studies of hands or something like that. Once you can break down your weaknesses and what you feel like you can improve upon, whether it be a mental health thing, a mental state thing, or a technical thing, it's a lot easier to make a habit out of changing those things and doing better with those things. So this is also something I've been kind of guilty of until, I don't know, the past year or so. I've been starting to listen to myself more and more, but I would say listening to yourself also helps you with your decision-making process and your decisiveness. You know yourself better than anyone, and a lot of times it's good to just make decisions on things based on how you feel or based on your experience of something, as opposed to second guessing yourself constantly. That's really helped me out. All right, and lastly, sometimes you're just gonna have a bad painting day, and just know when to look out for those things and tell yourself that tomorrow will always be better. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you took one habit away from that list. Please consider throwing me a like and a subscribe, and also check out my last video where I wrote a letter to myself, giving myself advice as a younger artist. And lastly, guys, keep on crushing it. See you guys next time.